in Canary Wharf as an investment banker, making like 65 grand plus, and you quit that with a dream.
The belief comes before the behavior. If you believe that you can, you can. If you believe that you can't, you can't. I see a booking, 8,300 direct booking. Boom!
So you'll probably make about 3 grand profit. Yeah. Jeez, that's good. Hope you guys learn from that. This is top stuff. Nicole, you are killing it in property.
Thank you.
From Croydon.
Yes.
And started with how much money?
Probably, I would say I probably had like 10,000 in the bank.
About 5-10?
Yeah.
What did you do with that 5-10? Where did you invest it?
Rent to rent. That's where we first started, yeah. So it's little money, so that's why I went for the rent to rent option.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, people say, oh, you could have put that towards a deposit on a house, but
that would have taken me a while.
And in Croydon?
Impossible.
How much is the average house in Croydon? Probably got about 350, 400?
Yeah, 300 to 400.
So you're going to need 100 grand as a deposit.
Yeah. It wasn't working out. And I knew that I had wanted to leave my job at the time as well.
What were you doing?
Investment banking.
I remember when we very first met.
Yeah. And I was like, should I? Like, this is how much I'm earning. What do you think? And you're like, take action. Like, you know what to do. And I was just like, well,
normally I don't tell people to do their job.
No, you don't.
But with you, I did.
Yeah. Because you were just like, yeah, go for it. Like, I believe in you can do it. So I was just like, you know what? Let's go.
How much were you making at your job?
I had a job that was 80 and then I moved to a different job because I thought I might have to change it up a bit. So it was 65 when I left.
That's a good income.
Very good.
So you were working as an investment banker in Croydon?
No, so I was working in Canary Wharf.
In Canary Wharf?
In the city, yeah.
As an investment banker, making like 65 grand plus, and you quit that to just, with a dream.
With a dream. Sounds crazy, but then I think for me, I just believed in myself. So I just knew that if I put my mind to it, like whatever you focus on grows. So I knew if I focused on this, it would.
And what was the goal? Like, what was the vision? What did you actually leave to do? What was the thing?
I think more time freedom, so getting time back, and also just my mantra in life is to create a life I love. And within investment banking, for several reasons, I wasn't enjoying it. So it was making me sad. I was depressed. I wasn't living in purpose. Also, but now that I've come to do this, I feel like I'm living out a life of purpose in so many ways. Just because I have more time, I'm able to read more, be in my word more, like in the Bible, and just like develop in a different way. And I feel like it's a better way for me.
Well, it's similar to me. I mean, I wanted to go to church.
Yeah.
And when I was working for my dad in my first sort of kind of job business thing, not getting paid very well, but it was like I couldn't really go to church because some days I had to work.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, this isn't freedom.
Yeah.
Is this it?
Tie down. Is this it?
So we look forward to being grown-ups when we're kids, to go from school to something even worse than school.
Yeah, exactly.
To then look forward to what? To look forward to retirement.
And your knees are broke down and you can't do anything.
Yeah. And you're how old are you?
28.
So when we met, you were about 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 26.
Just 2 years ago.
So you wanted time freedom.
Time freedom.
Did you know people, though, that were running their own businesses, doing property and stuff, or were you like the first in the community?
First.
Really?
Yeah.
What did your friends and what colleagues and family think when you quit your high-paid 65 grand a year job to say, I have a dream and I want to get into property and I got 5 grand?
Exactly.
And how did you only have 5 grand when you were on 65?
I know. So to be fair, I'd invested some of it. So in terms of liquid, I only had 5K, but the rest of it I'd invested. So in property. So my friend's other deal. So that's when I got the first exposure to rent. And I was like, no, this thing works. So he was taking us through it. And then that was...
Do I know him or not?
I don't know.
Probably. If he's in property, probably.
But to be fair, he's a musician.
Okay.
So
who is he?
Do you know guys called The Composers?
I've heard of
them. So one of them called Stephen, he did his own rent to rent. And that's when I got the first exposure.
So you just invested in his deal, but he did all the work?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really care. And then he taught us how to do it. And that's when I came across you, did more research into you, and I was like, okay, I'm going down to the free crash course. And I signed up, and then someone called me and there's a crash course within the next day. I was like, okay, cool.
I think I even remember you at that crash course.
Yeah.
We spoke at the crash course.
And I was at the front.
Yeah,
always
of course.
at the front.
You were sat front left to me.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Always at the front.
I remember.
And then we did the role play, I think, when we had the questioning on the phone. So that was really, really good.
So what happened on the crash course?
Oh, the crash course, you blew my mind. You blew my mind. You took
me even though you already knew the gist.
High level, yeah. But then I think hearing how much information that you gave, and it was free, I was like, nah, there's more. If this is the free stuff, imagine what I get if I actually commit and pay. So my mind was blown away. You took us front to back from how to do rent to rent. It was so good, so informative.
That was the rent to rent crash course 2022.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then thereafter, did my thing, signed up for the additional learning. And then even before you started, like even before the training came around, I was like, I'm signing up for the academy. I don't care, because I'd watched so many people on Wednesday, and you were like, since you signed on the academy, I was like, okay, I'm joining the academy. And then from there, I haven't looked back.
So at the crash course, one of the biggest hurdles that people have when they're trying to get rent to rents is actually getting a landlord to give them the deal, because you could know all about serviced accommodation. You could be super knowledgeable. You could have read all the books, even attended seminars, even gone to university to study real estate. But if you're getting on the call to a landlord or an agent and they're just going, we don't do company lets. Shuts down. And that can happen again and again. And it's part of it, in my opinion, I'd love to know what you think, but part of it is a numbers game, but part of it is having the skill to know how to actually articulate it in such a way. So what we did, if I remember, was I said to you, I'm a landlord. Pitch me on getting a rent to rent. And then I was like, shoot you down. So I think that was such good experience, because when it came to the real world and it happens, I was like, okay, I've got this. Like, I know what to say. I know that I shouldn't just go in straight with the pitch straight away. Like, I shouldn't say, I'm just going to do rent to rent. Like, you have to kind of like schmooze around a bit, but in a way that makes them know that it's a win-win for both parties. Because to be fair, rent to rent is a very much win-win for both you and the landlord, but sometimes it takes a while for them to actually appreciate that. How many properties have you got now, rent to rents?
5.
Yeah. And what do they make on average per month profit?
I would say around 5,000.
5,000. And this morning you had a good morning there.
A very good morning.
What happened this morning when you're driving to... That's how it happens. Every time you come meet me, there'll be something magical.
Good vibes.
It's good vibes. It's good energy. What happened when you was on the way to meet me this morning?
So I'm driving.
From Croydon.
On my way driving, listening to my gospel music, I see a booking, 8,300 direct booking from a corporate company who are looking to take on my new 4-bed property. They haven't seen it, but they just saw that I'd listed some other ones, and they asked me if I had another one. And then I said, yeah, I've got this 4-bed coming up. And they were just like, $8,300 pounds. Sorry. Yeah.
Who are these people, and how long are they booking?
So they're a company, and because it's a 4-bed, so my property can sleep up to 8, but there are 6 people from a company coming. They're working in the local area, and they're there for a month.
Just a month?
Just a month.
And how much rent are you paying to the landlord?
Just under 4,000.
So you'll probably make about $3,000 profit after you've paid the bits and bobs.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's good.
For one deal.
I mean, it certainly makes investment banking look very average. Because also that money's going to be coming in, well, while you're just on your way to see me.
Yeah.
But if you're in a job, you won't have time to come see. I only asked you yesterday or the day before yesterday.
I know. I was like, yeah, let's make it work.
Yeah, I was like, hey.
We take action on this side now.
I think it was Sunday. And I was
at church. And
you're at church.
I was like, yeah, let's do
I saw you at church. Ooh, and I was just like, yeah, I was at church as well. I was at my church. I saw you. I was like, come down, man. Let's talk. Let's talk business.
I know. And I just feel like the time, even though it was definitely risky to leave, and I'm not saying that everyone should do it like this. I was fortunate enough that I still do live at home, but I think having that time freed me allowed me to like go crazy, and I had nothing to fall back on because 5K will run out very quickly.
Exactly. But I think the reason I told you should quit your job was because of that. You live at home.
Yeah.
And I think when people say to me, oh, I'm an investment banker, I'm making $65,000 a year, should I quit my job? And I go, well, hang on. What's your situation? I got 3 kids.
Yeah, that
I got a wife and a mortgage and a this and a that. My wife doesn't work because she's sick. Yeah. And then I'm like, don't. So it depends.
Yeah, definitely.
It depends on the situation. Would you have been able to build up your business, do you think, alongside your job? Or would it have happened but just been very slow? Or would you have done it?
My mindset is that I could have done it, but it would have been way too slow. Because even if I think of, I got my first unit that was in Liverpool. Again, it was kind of like your situation where the landlord was like, I'm going tomorrow. Do you want to come? And it was like a Thursday. And I was just like, yeah, I'm coming. So, and if I hadn't have gone, once he even got to Liverpool, there was someone else who was pitching him a rent to rent. But because we had come from London together all the way in the car, we were able to talk, build rapport, that even when another rent to rent person came and viewed the property, me and the landlord were already locked in. That he was just like, yeah, you can take it, Nicole. But had I been at work, that wouldn't have happened.
You're the kind of person that someone would get pitched from 3 different people, but they'd choose you.
Yes, that's it. God's grace. But yeah.
So what is that? What is that? Is it confidence? Is it building rapport? Is it sales skills? Is it God smiling on you? Of course we know it's that.
Yeah, God smiling on me, 100%.
We know it's that. Of course we know it's that. But I'm just thinking, like, how can people kind of have a bit of that? Because there's other people that are the opposite. They're literally... They're no magnets.
Yeah.
I think it might be partly due to expectations. If you expect, the landlord won't want to do business with me. Whereas I think your mentality is, of course you'll do business with me.
Yeah.
And when you expect it and also as I remember you speaking, I think it was you that said on one of the masterminds, totally being yourself.
Yeah.
And not trying to put on a professional mask.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So I think, so I've been listening to, in this time as well, not having to go to work, I've been reading so many personal development books. And I think the beauty is the belief comes before the behavior. So if you believe that you can, you can. If you believe that you can't, you can't. So for me, I'm always just like, yeah, this is going to happen. Like this booking is going to come through. This, like, I'm going to take on this 4-bed and I know it's going to get booked and it's going to be a very good booking. That's always my belief. So when I speak to a landlord, I'm offering something great and I am a great person to work with. So it's not that it's more for you if you don't do it, but it's just like, if you don't want to do it, there's others. But I believe that my offering is great enough and I just have the confidence to articulate that.
And people will buy into you and believe in you when you believe in yourself.
Exactly.
And people will invest in you when you invest in yourself.
Exactly.
And you did that. You invested in yourself.
Invested in myself.
You believed in yourself. It was tricky though. It took a while, right?
It did, because initially when I first started the academy, I was at work. But then as soon as I quit, it took me 6 weeks to get my first unit. So it took a while.
How long did it take for you to? Because I remember you coming on the masterminds. It's never that you was like not doing anything, not being successful, but it was always like, oh, I'm struggling.
Exactly.
That lasted a few months.
It did. So it lasted. So especially whereby when I was at work and I didn't have optimal or maximum amount of hours to call, that was when it was a bit tricky. But then once I quit, I feel like the first 6 weeks I was tweaking my pitch and knowing what to say, not what to say, when to call, when not to call, going on viewings. And then as soon as it hit week 6, that's when I had that breakthrough. And then I went to Liverpool with the landlord and I was just like, I don't know, I've never been to Liverpool before, but I'll figure it out. And then all I did is I went to Liverpool 1 week, I came back home, and by the time I left to come back home, I already had my first booking. So it was like a crazy turnaround, but then that's because of the academy. So I was able to, once I was there, reach out to people who said, oh, does anyone know a cleaner? Does anyone know a handyman? Does anyone know a photographer? And that's the beauty of the academy, is the network as well, because I would not have been able to do that by myself, or I could have, but maybe come back down to London, something would have gone wrong. No one even to help me. So since I've come down from Liverpool, I haven't even seen the unit since.
Well, the thing is, you've been watching so many Winners Wednesdays, seeing what happens on the academy.
I knew exactly.
You knew what you were getting in for.
I said back to front. I said,
I need this. Yeah, this is going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to work. It's fine.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And you've been such an asset to the academy as well. And I'm so glad to have you on Winners on a Wednesday,
so
because it's been now a good year or so.
It is, and I think it's such a full circle moment, because during like end of lockdown, so 2021. That's when I found you first, and I'm watching your stuff. I'm like, how great would it be if I could be on Winners on a Wednesday? So when I saw your message on Sunday, I was like so touched. I was like, oh, look at God, like God is smiling on me. So yeah.
Well, you messaged me first.
Yeah. I was saying thank you so much, like for all the knowledge and everything. Like when I thought about how far I've come, it's like, wow, like because I invested myself, took action, and your information.
And then I was just like, damn, calm down, come make me. We'll have lunch afterwards. We'll have some lunch. Mrs. will be around.
No, so good.
I'd love you to spend a bit of time with Amanda. I think she's around.
Oh, lovely.
But no, that's amazing. So, all right, let's talk about the first things first then.
Yeah.
How do you find a rent to rent in the first instance? Before you even pick up the phone, you don't even know who to call.
Yeah.
Where do you go? What platforms? What are you looking at?
So you're looking at spare rooms, you're looking at open rent, even estate agent websites can also prove like a good place to find leads. I think for me, it was
Gumtree.
Gumtree, that's where I found my Liverpool one.
Is it?
Gumtree is where I found, and I've never used Gumtree before. I was like, God help me. Like, I hope this isn't fake, but Gumtree is a really good source as well.
So basically, wherever people list their properties for rent.
Wherever people list their properties, it's good game.
And do you prefer to call landlords direct or estate agents?
I personally prefer landlords. That's because I don't think an estate agent is going to get across my charisma and all of that when speaking to the landlord. So they'll be like, yeah, there's a girl who wants to do rent to rent. I'm like, no, that's not how you have to say it. So
they're almost like a gatekeeper, and they'll water down the message.
Exactly. They'll be like, yeah, she can do this, she can do that. But it's like, no, like when I'm telling you, I'm going to pitch and I'm going to show you my portfolio thus far, which is different.
Is it not problematic trying to get rent to rents when you've just quit your job? Because although you've got time, now you can't say to the landlord or the agent, oh, you can reference me, I'm in full-time employment. Does it make it harder, or how do you get through the referencing when you've got no income at all?
So for me, I think I was fortunate enough whereby my landlords hadn't asked for referencing.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah, that helps.
Well, how though? How are you going to get your landlords not even asking for referencing?
I think it's also about the confidence as well. And maybe you could also ask someone else to provide as a guarantor.
But you never did that.
I didn't do that.
You just literally, I mean, this is the thing, right? From the landlord's perspective, it's a company let.
Yeah.
So worst case, if you don't pay rent,
They kick me out.
they'll kick you out.
No
So
problem.
references and credit checks, and it's good.
Yeah.
And nearly all letting agents will do it.
Yeah.
But if the landlord understands the commercial
model.
agreement
Yeah.
and likes you and you've got good rapport, I see a lot of landlords not going through all those
Yeah,
checks.
exactly.
But it is rare.
Even to be fair, even my second landlord was the same as well. I didn't ask for
They
referencing.
didn't even bring it up though. So what did they say? We'll get there. We'll get there. So you go to these sites, you find on like Open Rent and Gumtree and Spare Room, you find properties. What type of property are you specifically looking for? Is it just a house or is it an apartment or what?
So I think when I first started, I thought like apartments, that's the only thing that works. But I think any property works. If the numbers work, the property will work.
Are you doing SA or HMO or both?
Essays right now, yeah.
Right. So you're just finding property, basically any property.
Anything that works. And I think the beauty of it is if you are able to negotiate favorable terms, any property will work. It doesn't matter if it's a house, a flat, a 2-bed, 1-bed, just as long as the numbers make sense.
So you're just literally finding properties and just picking up the phone.
Yeah.
And calling as many as you can.
Yeah.
And then, can we role play?
You go for it.
All right. So I'll be a landlord.
Okay.
And you be you. And I want to see exactly what you say. So here we go. Hello, can I help?
Hi, my name's Nicole. Are you the owner of so-and-so property?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Lovely. I was just wondering if it's still available for rent. It's a beautiful property and it's in the perfect location.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's available. I've got the keys.
Oh, that's so good. So I'd love to have a viewing on it because essentially I'm working with a local hospital and what we're doing is we are looking for properties in the area because we'd love to put the doctors and nurses in there that come from abroad and to put in that property. When would be a good time to view it?
Sorry, what you're working with a hospital, did you say?
Yeah, so working locally with the hospital.
So, who would actually be would it be the hospital renting the property or?
So it would be my company that rents it. And what we do is like, we work with different companies within the South London area. And what we do is we take properties on so that we have, a directory of property. So then when we have a contractor come in or a chef come in or the nurses and doctors, we're able to put them in our units. And what we like to do is we like to get them in advance as opposed to just like when they come in, we're now scrambling for properties. My company takes them on a longer term basis, which is convenient for you. So same way you'd be renting out to a tenant, you can also rent it with me for the same amount of time, except that I will offer you maintenance. I also do management. And honestly, it's a passive investment for you from now on your property.
Okay, no, that sounds really good. I mean, would you be able to send me maybe an email over? Or I want to have a chat with my wife about it, see?
Oh, see, that's the thing. So what would I need to write in an email that I couldn't tell you over the phone? I think what would be best is if we meet in person, then we can discuss it. And if you don't want to go ahead, that's fine. But I think once you meet in person and I explain the offering and how much better it is in comparison to renting to a normal tenant, I don't think you would disagree with it. But let's meet in person. I'm free at 4. Let me know if that's good for you and we can make that happen.
Yeah, all right. I'll see. I would. You won me over. You won me over. Oh, that was amazing.
Learn from the best. So
you learn from the best.
I learned from the best. Live training. So yeah.
But even your tonality, your confidence, but that was beautifully handled.
I've practiced enough times. We've got we're sitting on 6,000 rejections.
Yeah. But the thing is that whenever I'm role playing with people, like my students, I'll always act like, because I'm a landlord.
Yeah.
I know what landlords would say.
Yeah.
So some people say, Sam, you're so mean. I don't know. That is just
real
what
life.
landlords do. They'll shoot you down.
Yeah.
I tried the objection. Look, I'll send me an email. I need to speak to my wife.
That's what I learned from you.
Yeah.
So we practiced that. And
yeah.
They'll say anything. They'll say, I want to talk to my dog. I want to talk to my cat. So we have to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah. I need to think about it. Can you send me an email? Can you call me back? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But you need to be able to agree with it. Of course I can send you an email. But listen, why don't we get a view booked in? I'll come around and then you just take control of the conversation. But that's beautiful. And I think that I can see why you've had success getting deals. I hope you guys learn from that. This is top stuff. She invested £12,000 to learn this stuff, and you're getting it for free on YouTube. So you guys need to say something.
There needs to be substance.
So all right. So let's say you book that view with me now, and let's say it's in where are most of your properties based?
So I have one in Liverpool, and then the rest are in London.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's say you got a viewing in London. And I've said yes.
Yeah.
Now you're going tomorrow at 4:00.
Yeah.
How much research are you going to do on the property before you go? Or are you going to do very little and just rock up?
Very little rock up.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me why.
Because you're going to get bogged down in all the details, the due diligence and everything. He might even say no. Unlikely when he sees me, but he might even say no. But I think for me, it's a case of get there, build the rapport, because at the end of the day, even if that one's not suitable, he might have others. I think, as you always said, it's just get in front of people, have that conversation, speak to them. And then when you come back, and then before you put in your offer, you'll do your due diligence, see what works, and then you'll present. Yes. But at least at that point, the agent has already spoken to you, seen you, they know the model, they get that it works. So don't bog yourself down with the details before you go, in my opinion.
Oh, I think that's good advice, because what people will do is they'll spend 2 hours thinking about that property. They'll turn up and then the landlord will go, actually, I've just left it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you wasted 2 hours. So you turn up. Do you offer the landlord there and then, or do you... Well, how does it, or do you sell that on the concept and then go away and make an offer?
Sell on the concept and then go away and make an offer. But then now that I'm quite familiar with my said patch, I'm quite confident on the numbers now. So when I see a 4-bed, I'll be like, okay, this is what I can offer. This is what I think I can get. So it's really good if you have a patch, then you can kind of even be more confident when you go there and make that offer, because you know what works and what doesn't work and what you can achieve and what you can't achieve. So.
How's life changed for you then over the last couple of years?
I'm in such a better headspace. I feel like my belief in myself is like skyrocketed in terms of what I can do, what I can achieve. If I say I want to do something, I will be able to achieve it. So, and just being able to buy back time, like I wake up, go for my walk, read my book, write in my gratitude journal, read my Bible, and then start my day, which is so much different compared to the rush from before. So much happier now.
That's so good. And I'm so happy that you've won, because I remember, man, every day, mentoring, masterminds, but it's paid off, and it always does.
It always does,
because the process works. And people sometimes say to me, if I join the academy, am I guaranteed to be successful? I'll say no, but the process is guaranteed to work. The process works. If you follow the process, then it will work. But you're really inspiring.
Thank you
I'm really grateful.
Much.
What would be your final words of advice for someone watching this that maybe wants to emulate what you've done, wants to get into property, haven't got loads of money? What would be your advice?
Back yourself, take action. It works. You can do it. But just have the belief you can, and then everything else will fall into place.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And if you want to have your mind blown, like Nicole's did, come down to the Property Investors Crash Course. It's £1 for a ticket, which is daylight robbery. I'm being robbed here. But it'd be great to get to know you. What would you say are your experience at the Crash Course? These guys watching, should they come?
Oh, absolutely. Like the Crash Course, sensational. It will blow your mind and you'll realize why he's the best in the game. So
there we go.
Make your way down.
Tickets are £1. I'll leave a link in the description. Nicole, legend.